Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, or whenever you're watching this. You know who I am by now, the dear UG. We're going to here for another Wild Water Sports. Alright, we got some basketball, some football to talk about. Baseball's not here yet. We were counting down the days to that. NASCAR will be back up in February, which is great. But just to get it out there so people know I'm talking about it. Hockey. They have canceled games through mid-January, so at this point, I don't think we're going to see any hockey. I've been saying that. I'm a hockey guy. I love hockey. But we're not going to see it this year at this point because they can't get their acts together. So if you want to see some hockey, you go by the last NHL game, okay? If you want hockey. Moving on, we're heading to the NBA. Just as a reminder, they are Christmas games tomorrow on ESPN. At 12 o'clock, you got the Celtics versus the Nets, which should be a good matchup. I got the Nets winning that one at home. Celtics have not been doing good this year. On ABC, one of the two games you can watch on that night, at 3 o'clock, it is the New York Knicks taking on the LA Lakers. I am taking the Knicks on this one. They're definitely playing better basketball than what everybody thought, and the Lakers are just not performing. Also on ABC at 5:30, it will be the Oklahoma City Thunder taking on the Miami Heat. I am taking the Thunder on this one. You know Miami's been good at home, but the Thunder have been doing pretty well the last few weeks. Also on ESPN at 8 o'clock, it would be Rockets versus the Bulls. I think this is a coin flip, but I'm taking Chicago on this one. Rockets are not a good away team. And then the last game of Christmas Day for NBA, it is the Nuggets versus the Clippers. I'm taking the good Los Angeles team right now, the Clippers, to beat the Nuggets tomorrow night. So just as a recap, I have Nets, Knicks, Thunder, Bulls, Clippers. To me, I think the best one will be at 5:30. The Thunder versus the Heat should be a good match. It could be I know this could be me being stupid. It could be what we see later on for the NBA title. Just maybe. Speaking of the NBA title, let's take a look at the how things look right now. The best teams in the NBA, and I'll give you, as usual, my worst teams. In the Eastern Conference, the best teams right now are Miami, New York, Atlanta, Chicago, Indiana, Milwaukee, Brooklyn, and the Celtics barely. Now, yes, the Celtics are 13-13. I think they're one of the worst teams who are doing okay. As far as for right now in the Eastern Conference, the worst team to me is still Washington. They're a joke. They only got 3 freaking wins, okay? 3 wins, 22. I guarantee you, they're going to have probably the best shot at getting a very high lottery pick. And they play the Cavaliers this week. I'm taking Cleveland. Oh, yeah. The Washington Wizards just suck. Okay? Matter of fact, the win was against the New Orleans, who, by the way, sucks. Alright? As far as for the Western Conference, it is Oklahoma, Clippers, San Antonio, Memphis, Golden State, Houston, Denver, and Minnesota. What surprised me about that is I'm surprised that Minnesota's there, and I'm also surprised that Denver is there as well. Lakers and Dallas have got to fix something else. They will not be doing well. Dallas just lost last night. They had Dirk Nowitzki, so they're going to have to get their act together if they want a shot at even making it into the playoffs. Yes, I know it's early, but right now, if I'm a Lakers or Dallas Mavericks fan, this is when I would be panicking, because if they're doing this bad this early, what are they going to do once we get past the All-Star break? Speaking of that, LeBron James says he will not do the dunk contest. I am okay with that. I have no problem with that whatsoever. Speaking of All-Stars, we have some football to talk about. Tomorrow I will be making my picks on Christmas Day. So hopefully you guys will be tuning into that. If you do. If you don't, you don't. Okay, now, Chris, before we even get to the playoffs, Colts passed the 10-5 torch to Chuck, who came back today. So congratulations to him. And believe it or not, the Eagles expect to start Vic this week. So that could be interesting. Ware will play this Sunday for the Cowboys. He did miss his past game with the Saints. That was a great game. Niners wide receiver Manningham will get an MRI on knee. He could be out for this week. Who knows? Steelers Miller tears ACL. Will have surgery. Of course, Ryan won't save Tebow. You know, Tebow's been in the news. I don't want to leave that around. The Raiders Palmer will miss the final game with rib and lung pain. Now, of course, we got the playoff things to talk about, and we're going to get to that right now before we even get to, you know how everything is going in the NFC. And I say that because the AFC is already done. But let's get to the NFC playoff picture first. That's what matters right now. NFC, here we go. Chicago Bears can clinch a playoff spot with a win this week or a loss by the Vikings. Now, just as a reminder, the Vikings this week play Green Bay Packers. So, Bears, you may get a shot at getting in. Excuse me, my nose itches. I'm a human being. As far as for Chicago, you play the Lions, so that's also a rivalry game, and you're at Detroit. So there's a good shot. You can get in, but you have to win and hope the Vikings lose, because if the Vikings win, Bears are done. So as for my Dallas Cowboys, they can clinch the NFC East with a win this week over the Skins. To be perfectly honest, Week 16 for the Dallas Cowboys, Redskins, and the Giants didn't mean nothing as far as I'm concerned, because we all knew Week 17 was going to be where it was going to be do or die. Period. Now, Packers clinch a first-round bye with a win or a San Francisco and a Seattle loss. Excuse me. Allergies. Let me repeat that again. Green Bay clinches a first-round bye, second seed, with a win or a San Francisco and Seahawks loss, which could happen. Like I just said, Packers do play the Vikings this week. As far as for the San Francisco 49ers and the Seattle, I think Packers have a better shot at winning their game. It'd be easier for them to beat the Vikings, because I hate to tell you this, Niners play the terrible Cardinals, and the Seahawks play the surprising Rams, which could be interesting. So keep that one in mind. Vikings, all you got to do is win, or if you do lose, you got to hope for Bears, Dallas, and Giants loss. Now, they'll probably got the better shot out of everyone to get the 6th seed. But keep in mind, they're all playing Green Bay, who's batting for the 2nd seed, so keep that in mind. Now, New York Giants, you have to win this week. You have to beat the Eagles, then hope for Dallas to lose, Vikings to lose, and Chicago to lose. That's going to be tough. I don't know if that's going to happen for the Giants. We could be seeing the defending champions not making the Super Bowl, or the playoffs for that matter, which would not surprise me with the way they played this past week against Baltimore. San Francisco can clinch the West Division this week with a win or tie, or a Seattle loss or tie. Now they clinch a first one bye with a win and a Packers loss. Now as far as for the, and I already said who they play, so moving on to the next team, Seahawks. They clinch the West with a win and a San Francisco loss. They can clinch a first round bye if Seattle wins, of course, if the Niners lose and the Packers lose. Now, Redskins probably have the most interesting two ways to get in. They can either win the East and win it automatically, or tie in that game. Now, they clinch a playoff spot if the Vikings and Bears lose this week. And Giants are hoping for that. So Skins, and I'm asking this very seriously, because you got the late game, if for whatever reason, and I'm saying this as not a fan of the sport, I'm saying it as a fan of the sport, not a fan of my team, that's what I meant to say. If the Vikings and Bears do lose, I think Redskins fans have to know it might be a good thing for that to happen, because if they lose, you still get into the playoffs. You want that to happen. I think Skins fans are cheering for the Packers and the Lions this weekend, just to be safe. Alright? That's what I would be doing anyway if I was a Skins fan. That's what I would be hoping for. Just in case if we did lose, if the Skins did lose to the Cowboys this Sunday. Because anything can happen. So I think Skins fans had the better shot at getting that 6th seed if they lose, depending on what happens with the Vikings and Bears. Now let's head to the AFC. Well, it's already locked up. We already know Baltimore's the 4th seed, Colts are the 5th seed, Cincinnati's the 6th seed. At this point. Now, of course, for Houston, you can clinch home field advantage this week with a win or a Denver-New England loss. You also clinch a first-round bye with a Denver or New England loss this week. Now, unfortunately for you, Houston, you have to play the Colts. Colts may want to get some redemption, and plus with Chuck being back this week, yeah, I could see it happening. As far as for Denver, yeah, Houston, you better not depend on Denver losing. They've been on a roll, having not lost since October 7th, and that was against New England. Since then, they beat everybody that was in front of them. And they play Kansas City this week. That's an easy win for Denver. As far as for New England, they play Miami, and unfortunately, what worries me with this one, New England didn't look too good against Jacksonville, and this is a rival game. Miami's playing for right now at least to get to 8-8. That's what they're playing for. So it should be interesting to see what happens in that game. It is at New England now. It's going to be cold up there. Now, as far as for Denver, they can clinch a home field advantage with a win and a Houston's loss. That could happen. But they also clinch a first-round bye with a Denver win or a New England loss, which could happen. Now, as far as for New England, the only way they can clinch home field is if they got to win, and Denver and Houston must lose. They can also clinch the first-round bye if they win and Houston loses, or they win and Denver loses. Anything else, they'll be the 3rd seed this year. Now, it looks like to me, you got Jacksonville and Kansas City. At this point, it's pretty much, somebody's got to be the worst team, because it ain't going to be Philly. Somebody's going to be 2-14. If both of them do, I'm going to laugh. But Jacksonville plays the Titans. Titans are not that good. They're 5-10. I think Jacksonville might win that one, and Kansas City gets the worst record and gets the first pick in the draft, which could happen. Now, of course, that's just me being estimating, so who knows. Now, before I go, I want to talk about Rookie of the Year, because there's been a lot of talk about it. As far as for the MVP candidate, it's got to go to Peyton Manning, because no one, I don't think, thought that he was going to be that good. Hey, I give credit to Adrian Peterson. If you get to the playoffs, then we can talk. Maybe I might be able to give it to you, vote for you, but if you're not, I got to vote for Peyton. That'd be the best thing. As far as for Rookie of the Year, though, this is where we're having problems with people. Some are taking RG3 because of how well he's done. He's done great. But here's my thing. He did miss a game, and I know people don't count that, so I'm just throwing that out the window. My main problem is this. If he does make the playoffs, fine. I have no problem with him winning it. But if he does not make it, he does not deserve it. Because the other two rookies, Luck and Wilson, all making it to the playoffs. It should be on that alone. If RG3 makes it, fine. He gets it. If they don't, or if they get in as a 6th seed, I can't do it. I cannot do it. Now, as far as for Wilson, yeah, you doing great as well, but it's Seattle. You know, it helps when you play the Cardinals twice. It helps when you play the Rams. Yeah, he's done great. But to me, Luck is my Rookie of the Year. I don't care if he doesn't win it or not. He's the Rookie of the Year to me because, one, he did it without Coach Chuck. Okay, they were pretty much using a backup all year. Two, he took the worst team last year who didn't have a quarterback, who looked like a chicken with its head cut off, to, we're going to be a playoff team, and we're going to be we could be the Cinderella team this year and win it all, which I got to be honest, I'm not a Colts fan. If that happens, hey, I'm happy for them. But they're doing it for Chuck. They're not doing it for, notoriety. They're not doing it for a ring. They're going to the playoffs and playing this good for Chuck. That's what it comes down to. And I think every NFL fan, love the Colts or not, I think they're going to be the sentimental team this year in the playoffs. You can say I'm wrong or not on that. I know some will disagree, some will. Let me know what you think on that. Well, that's it for the Wild Water Sports tonight. I will see you tomorrow, Christmas Day, for my Week 17 picks. As always, I hope you have a good week and Merry Christmas Eve and have a Happy New Year. Till tomorrow, I'm out.